Nashville, cowboy hat pulled low over his eyes, Jason Aldean walked into the glittering Schermerhorn Symphony Center at the live taping of CMT's Artists of the Year special. It was mid-October, 2 weeks after a gunman started firing bullets during Aldean's set at the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas, killing 58 people and injuring hundreds more in the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. In the days after the horror, Aldean visited victims in the Las Vegas hospital and appeared on Saturday Night Live to perform Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down. He was now back in Nashville, and all eyes were on him. During commercial breaks, fellow country stars swarmed around his table. A prominent radio executive gave him a hug. It could have been any one of us standing on that stage, singer Luke Bryan said, introducing him as one of 5 honorees of the night. Jason Aldean has responded with dignity, care, respect and, in some ways, defiance. The mood of the annual event, which the network declared a night of hope and healing instead of the usual light-hearted trophy ceremony, was compassionate and somber, and, unlike nearly every other award show in 2017, completely devoid of politics. In a year when it felt like everything in pop culture became a political flashpoint, TV sitcoms, the NFL, the Golden Globe Awards, country music managed to not say much of anything at all. This surprised no one familiar with the Nashville industry's whispered advice about political beliefs: avoid making them public. But after the Las Vegas massacre, the format was suddenly linked with a contentious gun control debate. On Wednesday, millions will tune into the 51st Annual Country Music Association Awards, the genre's biggest night in the national spotlight. Can country music singers still get away with not voicing an opinion? The answer is probably, and the reasons are complicated, especially for a genre becoming more mainstream and has seen its popularity grow in liberal-leaning cities, but whose fanbase is considered largely conservative. Not to mention the format's ties to the National Rifle Association. I've talked to between 15 and 20 artists. And they're torn. Not about how they feel, because that's not even the issue. They're split on just speaking out about it, said Bobby Bones, the syndicated country morning radio host who performed at the festival with his band, the Raging Idiots. The issue as a country artist is you feel like if you say something wrong, your audience is going to turn on you. And their publicists have all said, don't talk about it. Just don't talk about it. Mario Price, a country singer and songwriter who broke out with an acclaimed debut album last year, was horrified when she saw the news about Las Vegas. The next day, she took to Twitter. We need stricter gun control, plain and simple, she wrote. And I say that as someone who owns a firearm. But no one with mental health problems should be able to get his hands on a machine gun. Price said she got some criticism STFU on politics already lately. #nobody cares about your opinion but not much. Granted, she's signed to Jack White's independent Nashville record label, where there's an icky Trump sign in the office, so her circumstances are different than major label artists. I have some people on Twitter who say, you are not big enough to talk about politics, you don't want to alienate your crowd, you need to separate your music and political beliefs, Price said. However, she reasoned, at the beginning of your career, you might as well show people who you really are. More people should be unafraid to speak out. The common assumption is that country singers don't talk politics because they're terrified of ending up like the Dixie Chicks, who criticized President George W. Bush on the eve of the Iraq War in 2003 and wound up essentially blacklisted from the industry. Although this situation was an unusually perfect storm primed for controversy, the fear lingers, particularly with an issue so complex. Often, singers think they don't have the authority to say anything at all. I think sometimes it's important to speak, sometimes it's important not to speak. It's about finding that balance and also trying to not let society and social media put that pressure on you too much, said Tyler Hubbard of the duo Florida Georgia Line, also an honoree at Artists of the Year. The main reaction from artists after Las Vegas has been calling for prayers and urging Americans to unite after such a hateful act. Several have released new songs to benefit the victims. Caleb Geter, guitarist for the Texas-based Josh Abbott Band, was one of the only musicians other than Price to take an ideological side. After surviving the shooting, He wrote an emotional post about how, as a Second Amendment supporter, he now understood the need for gun control. Gator's publicist declined a request for him to comment for this story. Just